I can show you what those are as we go along. So as I say, what you're seeing is effectively very close to what you're getting, but I do have to say that due to technical issues, I can't use a GA stack with data in it. Okay, so analytics in API Connect. For those of you that are familiar with previous versions of the product, you will see that the analytics in API Connect is quite different to what we've had in the past. The major change really is that since the inception of the product, I think it was way back in 2013, we have used Elasticsearch to do analytics in API management. With API Connect, what we're doing is we're investing a lot more in what's known as the Elastic Stack. Used to also be called the ELK Stack, but in February this year, the Elastic company decided to rename it to the Elastic Stack. For those of you that are not familiar with the Elastic Stack, it is a set of open source components. There is Elasticsearch, which is a data store and a search engine. Well, this actually calls itself a distributed search engine because that's effectively what it is. There is Logstash, which is a log forwarder. Sorry, and I'll talk a bit about what we use that for. And there is Kibana, which is a visualization engine that hooks up to Elasticsearch, and it allows you to create visualizations and dashboards that you can then use to do analytics on data. And so that made up the original ELK stack, the E for Elasticsearch, the L for Logstash, and the K for Kibana. But fairly recently, they added some data collectors. These are known as beats. My phone has gone very quiet, so hopefully you can still hear me, Mike.
Nope, yep, I guess you're good. Everybody's muted, so you have a clear line.
Okay. So they've added a few more components, which they call beats. As I say, these are data collectors. And so they renamed the ELK stack to the Elastic Stack. So what we have done in API Connect is we are actually taking advantage of that full stack now. We are using Elasticsearch as the data store and the search engine. We're using Logstash to decorate the API event records as they are fed into the system. And I'll talk about what we're decorating with in a minute. And we are using Kibana. We've actually embedded Kibana into the API Connect, the API Manager UI. And that's the component that we're going to go through today. We haven't used Beats yet. We are planning on using Beats very shortly. What Beats allow you to do, there's various things you can do with it. So you can tail files, you can get network statistics, you can get statistics about the system is running on, etc., and feed those all into Elasticsearch. So that helps us to enrich the amount of data that's available in analytics. And as I say, we will be taking advantage of it in the near future. So just very quickly, if you want to know what versions we're using, Elasticsearch, we're using 2.1.1. The current released version is 2.2. Logstash is also 2.1.1. Kibana, we're at 4.3.1. The current GA version is 4.4.0, so we're only one behind. And as I say, we haven't used the beats yet, so we will get to that at some point. Okay, so analytics in API Connect is a data collector and a visualization engine. So we don't actually generate any data at all in the analytics component. And this is quite important because very often people will come to me and say, my analytics is not working, I'm not showing any data. And when that happens, the chances are good that it is the gateway that's not, there's some problem between the gateway and the analytics engine, that those events are not actually getting to the analytics engine. So there are effectively 4 types of events that we capture in analytics. They are API events. So this, depending on how your logging policy is configured in the gateway, if it is configured to allow API events, then we get API events, which there will be one for every single API call that's made on the gateway. We also collect log events. So this is where there is an exception of some sort. A log event record will be generated. Those log events are generated by both the management nodes and the gateway servers as well. We have audit events, so when you do anything that is auditable, such as creating an API or publishing a plan, it will generate an audit event, and those are stored in the system. And lastly, monitoring events. So we have a regular heartbeat that does a data collect on both the gateway and on the management servers and push monitoring data into the analytics. So just a quick reminder that on the logging policy that I talked about, there are 4 options that you have on the logging policy. You can have none, which means don't log any API events for this particular API. You can have activity, which will log activity-related information about the API. So that is information that kind of describes that API and the context in which it's being executed. It doesn't include any of the data that is being shifted between the client and the server. If you want that data, then you have the option of specifying headers, which will include the HTTP request and response headers. And if you want the payload data as well as the headers, then you specify a policy option of payload, and that will give you everything. So when these API events come into the management node, they're actually written to Logstash. So Logstash picks them up and it decorates those events. The first thing that it does is it resolves all the IDs in the API event, and it adds the names that correspond to those IDs into the API event record. Now, this is important because when a user is making use of the analytics, the visualization editor, it's far easier for them to work with names than it is to work with the IDs. So that's how we get around them not having to go and look up IDs. They can use the names that they know within that catalog, product, API, whatever. So the other thing that we are doing with Logstash is that we do a geo-IP lookup of 2 IP addresses. One is the gateway IP address, and the other one is the client IP address. And we add geolocation information to the API event record before storing it into Elasticsearch. And I will show you when we do the visualizations that you can then take use of that to actually map events on a world map. And I'll show you how we do that. Okay, the monitoring events, the ticker on the management servers, I think, will send an event every 30 seconds. But the gateway, the duration is much longer. I think it's in the region of 5 minutes or something. I'm not quite sure exactly what the duration is. So it does raise a question when you look at the graphs for the monitoring data. So these are the graphs that appear in the CMC. You will see that the points on the management server graphs are much denser than the points on the gateway server graphs. And that is the reason why. It's because
Sorry
yes.
for interrupting. This is Vitaly. A quick question. Are you displaying something? Because we're still seeing the API Connect login screen for API Manager.
That's all that I'm displaying at the moment. Okay.
Okay, just checking. All right.
Yep. So I won't talk for too much longer before we dive into the demo. It's just to kind of give you a brief summary of what many people probably know already in terms of how we collect analytics and what we do with it. So, right, audit events. Audit events are viewed through the notifications icon, as they have been in the past. Log events are viewed through the notifications icon too. I don't think I've ever seen the management node actually produce a log event that is viewable through the icon. So the infrastructure is there, but we don't really take advantage of it, and that's something that we hope to do in the future. So API Manager, what we're going to be focusing on really today is the API events. They are the most interesting ones, and they are the ones that most of the functionality that you're going to use in the analytics engine and the visualization engine is to actually look at API event data. So in API Connect, we are scoping all of the analytics to a catalog. So it's not only the data that we scope to the catalog. You will see we allow people to create dashboards and visualizations of their own. Those dashboards and visualizations are private to the catalog as well. So if you want to share a dashboard or a visualization from one catalog to another, then you have to actually export it from the one catalog and import it into another. Okay. So let me start by logging on. As I say, this isn't the GA version of the build, I'm afraid, but there's not a lot I can do about it. I just ran out of time to get it to work, so I had to opt for this backup plan. Okay, the various, so if you come into a catalog, we started with the catalog, the dashboard. If we select a catalog, then we see that there is an analytics tab on the page.
Graham, sorry to step in there. Do you actually meant to show that, or we just see a login screen right now?
You're still seeing a login screen?
Yeah.
Okay, you should see something else. Shall I stop sharing and start sharing again, just to make sure?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, this boot up process takes far too long.
Yep. That's okay. I just want to. Okay. I do see your sharing.
And can you see a Sandbox catalog page?
No, what I see right now is is basically you screen sharing, and it's showing the connections meeting here.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let me log into a Firefox browser and see if that works.
Maybe you have multiple screens, Graham, on your Mac or on your Ubuntu.
Okay, can you see a login screen?
One of the
No, we still see the connections meeting.
How bizarre.
Are you using your laptop and a monitor by any chance? Maybe it's displaying one of the screens?
Nope. It's just a single screen, and it is just the laptop screen.
When you selected the screen sharing, did you select the entire desktop, or did you select an individual application?
No, I selected the entire screen.
Okay.
I can try and just share an application. Let me try that quickly. It's a shame it hasn't ever failed me before.
I have much better luck with Firefox.
Yeah, I have to run Firefox for the actual screen share itself, because the Java version, well, I can't get the Java to work on Chrome. They changed something, I can't remember what it was. Okay, currently running application. Let's try that. Okay, can you see a login screen?
It's trying to do something. I just see blank right now. Does everybody else see a blank screen too?
Yeah, I see a blank screen.
Okay, there's one more thing that I can try, but it'll take me a minute or two to get it going.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
I see a blank screen.
It's actually interesting when when I came upstairs to set up, my machine had a funny moment, and the screen just went flashing colors. Is the only way that I can really describe it, and I had to power it off and power it back on. So I wonder if something has upset it in the configuration. Anyway, let's see if we can get this started quickly. See, I knew I spoke too soon, Mike. I shouldn't have made any comment about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when you tempt fate, I guess.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing on this one again.
Okay, yep.
Okay, almost there. Come on. Sorry, I don't use Windows very often, so it's not on my SSD, it's on a spinning disk, which takes a while to load. Okay, get the browser open. Hopefully the network will work. Come on. Okay, sorry, I just have to go and get the meeting link.
Want me to same time it to you or Slack it to you?
No, it's okay. I've just got to go out of the VM image and back to native system to go and fetch it. And then hopefully cut and paste this, or copy and paste is going to work. Come on, verse. Right, calendar. Copy. Okay.